For 25 years, Austin Ruse has been at the forefront of the global right to life movement. As president of the Center for Family and Human Rights, Ruse keeps watch on the United Nations. And earlier this year, he saw something he had never seen before when the UN filed an amicus brief to the Supreme Court in the Dobbs case.
And they were arguing that there's an international right to abortion already. And this is the argument that they have now made for 25 years, that there's an international right to abortion through UN documents. This is, of course, a false claim. This is one thing that they have wanted. This is what they've tried since the Cairo conference in 1994 and then Beijing in 95 and many other conferences. But abortion is not mentioned even in a single human rights treaty. Reproductive health is only mentioned in one UN Human Rights Treaty, which is the Treaty on Persons with Disabilities. And nowhere does it call for abortion becoming a human right. Yet these human rights experts claim falsely to courts around the world, and now including to our own court, that there's an international right to abortion based on UN documents, both binding and non-binding. So when the leak happened, the Alito draft, the Secretary General was very angry and released a statement expressing his anger that Roe v. Wade may be overturned by the Supreme Court.
So Austin, what is standing in the way of the UN and the World Health Organization getting its way?
What stands in the way of the UN pronouncing an international right to abortion is the fact that the General Assembly has never agreed to go along. And that's where the work of my organization and others like it come in. It's because we've assisted delegations now for 25 years in negotiating documents and ensured that abortion has never been recognized as an international human right.
10 years ago, if you told me that climate change was going to become a reason for reproductive health rights, I would have said you're crazy. But this is the world we live in today, isn't it?
Andrew Bremberg, who was up as the Trump nominee to be UN ambassador to the UN in Geneva, was asked about this particular thing, and his answer is so precise. He said, abortion is never the answer to any moral question. But you see, they believe that it is the answer to every question. If it's climate change, the answer is abortion. If it's a refugee crisis, the answer is abortion. If there are wildfires in the West, the answer is abortion.
It's a war.
That's how important the abortion question is to these people, and also why they're so angry that the United States might be going sideways on this issue, because this will have a direct impact on the abortion debate at the UN and also all over the world.
Austin, could you talk about Bill Gates? Because a lot of people just think of him as this kind of avuncular, friendly guy who's philanthropic, who wants to save the world. But the truth is that Bill Gates is truly a threat.
Bill Gates is the number 2 funder, number 2 donor to the World Health Organization, second only to Germany. So he is among the most powerful men in the world. And there are a number of things that happen. Well, first of all, he's fully on board with the UN-style family planning agenda. Yeah. He and his wife have funded huge programs to ensure that there are fewer Africans than there were a few years ago. So he wants fewer Africans, we know that. Additionally, though, he sets the agenda, and this is what I learned in Kennedy's Fauci book, is that he sets the agenda. So that he may determine that we want to eradicate polio, for instance. So all the money goes to that. And what happens to the money that might have gone to clean water and safe sanitation? You know, if you ask people in Africa what are the main things that they want basic medical care, clean water, safe sanitation, education. But if all the money's going to polio eradication because Bill Gates says so, it makes these other things go lacking. So there's a ripple effect in all of the things that he's involved in. And one of the things that I discovered in reading the Kennedy's Fauci book is that he makes money on this. He's not just a philanthropist. He gets money for the sale of vaccines, and so does Fauci. This recently came out in the Epoch Times. So they're making Fauci, Gates, all of Fauci's colleagues at the NIH, not all of them, but a significant number of them, are making significant money in the sale of vaccines in Africa, generally and often in vaccines that are harmful. For instance, Depo-Provera. Which is something that's not allowed to be used here, but we use it on African women, and it's dangerous. So there's a whole multi-layered problem with Gates at the World Health Organization in this country and around the world.
So is it still no finer time to be a Catholic?
I wrote a book last year called Under Siege, No Finer Time to Be a Faithful Catholic, and it's not in spite of all the trouble around us. It's precisely because of all the trouble around us. Because he called us here right now when we're not in charge, when the hard left is in charge, and they're coming for us. And he sent us. You know, golly, Jesus, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? You know, and what I think about is you know, we saw The Chosen, you know, and they weren't the A-team. You know, maybe Matthew was because he worked for the Romans, but the rest of those guys were, you know, they were like us, lame us. But he sent us. So that's why there's never been a finer time to be a faithful Catholic, because everything is in danger, and he sent us.